Welcome back, YouTube. I'm back here with another update on my setup. Had some viewers asking me what's going on, what do I have, and some other viewers are also asking me about the filtration setup I have right now. So for this part, I'll just be covering my tank, and I will do a separate video on the filtration itself. So I made some changes on there as well. So now I just have Rasboras, some Barbs, and for the bottom I have Corycats. I have a small handful, just a small handful of some rainbows, and one Redtail shark. For those of you that have followed my channel before, you'll notice that I do not have the 3D wall up right now. I decided to take it out and try a black background. That way I can contrast my substrate a little better. The 3D wall was gray, and in some areas it extended out 9 inches. So by taking the wall out, I got an opportunity to use more of the water volume behind the wall for the fish to swim. I added just a few decorations this time around, and a few stones and slates to give me an optimal circulation for the water. And I chose these Rasboras because I like the specific design they have on their markings. It's pretty cool. Much like the Barbs, they look pretty close to them. I got the Rasboras when they were about 1 inch, and they have various growth rates, but the biggest one I have out of the whole batch is about 2.5 inches, so they grow a little slower. I have a major school of them, quite a bit. The Barbs, I got them about 2 inches, and they are about 4 inches now, so they grow a little faster. Well, here's the Redtail shark I was telling you about. In the past I've had a few, but it seems that no matter how much space you give them, eventually they just do not get along with each other. So I took out a few of them and I just kept one, and he seems to be doing very well now that he has a whole 9-foot tank to himself. He stays pretty active. He is about 2 inches now, I'd say, maybe a little bigger. When I first got him, he was about 1 inch as well, so he is possibly getting a better growth spurt now that I got rid of the other sharks. But he has a little bit of personality to himself too. Unlike the other fish, he's not too shy. But this guy's a trickster, man. I found him in my filtration, I found him in my overflows. He's even made it inside my overflow pipes on the overhead, right over here. He went through here and he came up and he went in there and went down, and I found him in my sump near the propeller. He couldn't retrace the steps and go back because it's a 1-inch pipe and he couldn't turn his body, so he was just sitting there for some time now. I'm surprised he survived, to be honest with you. But yeah, I did a search and I couldn't find him, and now with the 3D wall out, there's not really any place that a fish can hide from me. Where before I had issues where the fish would sometimes, the real small ones would get behind the wall and you go looking for a fish and you can't find it, and you're playing the guessing game where it is, and then you find out he's behind the 3D wall, which means I have to go in there, pull the wall back, and catch the fish that were behind there. They got a little redundant after a while, so the first thing was to get rid of the fish that like to go behind the walls, mainly various fish I had. But the redtail is a very curious fish, and he will explore every nook and cranny of a tank, and we'll go where other fish tend not to. So I won't have that problem with him much more when he gets a little bigger, but he's really small now. So, and the Corycats, I have a lot of them, and the reason I have a lot of those is because I personally don't like to do any maintenance in the tank. The thing I like to do is just add water and feed them, and you know, obviously change cycle water changes. But the Cory fish, the Corycat fish, they tend to keep my sand very, very clean. And if you notice, I stay below 1 inch in some areas. I'm like just 1/4 and maybe 1/2 in other areas, but I don't never pass 1 inch of a height on my sand. And that's just enough for these guys to get in here and dig through the substrate and keep it clean. I got various types of Corys in here, probably about 8 different types. The bigger ones, they don't like to come out too much, they like to hide. They'll come out for food, or when it gets a little darker, when they don't see too much light. But these guys do a great job of keeping my bottom clean. I don't have to go in here and move sand around anymore like you do in most cases to release air pockets, because these guys do all the moving around for me. Let's see if we can find some more. Yeah, they're all hiding behind the rocks over there. It's about time for them to eat, so I'll probably feed them a little bit so you guys can see all of them come out. So with the 3D wall gone now, I was able to open up a lot more space. And the wall came up about 9 inches in some areas. You know, it was perforated and went around deeps and had nooks and crannies in it. So by taking it out, I just opened up a lot more space, water volume in here, and opened it up more. It's a 42-inch depth there, so you know it doesn't look like it, but it's 42 inches wide. Maybe able to find some Corycats back here. Let's see. There's one of the bigger ones. Like I said, they're very timid. Yeah, all the bigger ones tend to hide. But that'll change here shortly, because I'm about to put some food out here so you guys can see them. So this is a change from the Frantoses and the other cichlids that I've had in the past. Some more community, less temperamental, and a lot easier on the feedings. Doesn't take much to feed these guys. And with less food in the water, I keep the water even cleaner. So the tank's pretty open. Just a few decorations for them to swim around. I didn't want to disturb the flow of the water. And I stood these slates straight up to sort of break up the black back there. But I'm really happy with this setup right now, and the stock particularly. As I said, I'm always trying to find ways for the tankers to be self-sufficient where I have to do hardly anything. And so far this setup and the way I set everything up is proving to be the best one for me so far. I just keep an eye on my water level from natural evaporation and top it off and do water changes. In my second video, I will discuss more about my filtration and my sump. I've come up with another way to keep the evaporation at a slower rate. And I'll go into more detail with the sump on the second video. Let's give these guys some food. Let's see how they act. Yeah, they'll come out. It's just a matter of time before all the Corycats come out. They'll get a whiff of that food. We'll smell it shortly and they'll all be out. Let's put some more in here. It's a lot of Rasboras, but it's a pretty big tank, so you see when they come eat, they just kind of all school together, pick at the top. The Corycats and the shark seems to clean the bottom. The Barbs, they're bottom feeders as well. I don't get too many, well, the Rasboras themselves, they're more top swimmers. They don't come out to the bottom, at least not yet. They're too small. But everybody else comes on. Even the rainbows will come down and feast on the bottom. So let's look and see how many Corycats we have now. Oh yeah, they're all start coming out now. Get down so you guys can see this. I got various types, but sleeping or not, they will all come out for that food. Okay, there they come. They're all coming out now. So you can get an idea of how well they clean my tank. and my bottom cleaners. They can't help themselves. So the Rasboras is like, hey, can we get some more on top? Let's give them some more. I'm giving them some small crisp. I give them flakes, a variety of food as well to help their growth a little more. What I do now to help also with the maintenance of the cleaning is I just tend to feed on one side of the tank. Over there in this corner over here, I used to feed them everywhere in the tank before, but now I just localize it to one spot. That way I don't have to worry about uneaten food or whatnot in other areas which require more maintenance. This is my current setup now, guys. So I probably have about 4 blue rainbows and 1 red one. I did have 80 rainbows at one time, but I decided to take them out as well and just kept a few. Because these guys can eat as well, they don't stop eating. So guys, that's pretty much it. This is a updated video so you guys can see what I have now. Much more open, much more cleaner, much more spacious, and the water flow has improved. We'll talk about the pumps I'm using and what's working for me and what's not. Like I said, I made some changes to my sump. Not a lot of big changes, but every little way that you can tighten up your system always helps. So the end result is to try to do as little maintenance as possible and let it be self-sufficient like a natural ecosystem. I'm trying to zoom in here for you guys. So I do think that a lower substrate is the key to not having to do so much work. I know some hobbyists prefer to have a high substrate, pockets, you know, dividends, dips, cascading, you know, sort of mountains in them, but I've done it and it just, I don't want to do all that work anymore. For simplicity, this is what I chose. Ideally, I like to go bare bottom, but I'm not sure about that yet. My favorite guy right here. He's just a busybody. So anyway, that is an update on my setup, guys. So I will make a second video on my filtration. I will go more into depth about it, and I will post a link so you can see it. Take care, guys, and thanks for watching.